Hey everyone, welcome to another great episode of the Smooth Business Growth Podcast, where we share 15 minutes of fast-paced peer marketing strategies proven to move the needle in your business. So I'm your host and Captain Lyndsay Phillips. I'm the founder of Smooth Sailing Business Growth, where we help busy entrepreneurs attract and convert customers faster through powerful and consistent content marketing. In fact, if you go to smoothbusinessgrowth.com, you can download your social media roadmap to help you do just that. So who out there has said that they get business through word of mouth? I mean, a ton of us, right? Well, today we are going to chat with Bill Bice, who has created a new approach to marketing, one that fuses technology and expertise together to deliver marketing as a service for B2B and law firms at scale. So he's going to share with us how to turn conversations into conversions with word of mouth marketing. So let's set sail. Welcome aboard, Bill.
It's great to be on board.
Awesome. So, I mean, I've talked about referrals with some other people before, but I've never heard the term word of mouth marketing. I mean, to me, word of mouth is like, getting referrals. So what do you mean by word of mouth marketing?
Well, so that's the one thing that really works, right? I mean, I love sitting down with a business owner and saying, where'd your last couple of new clients come from? And it's almost always, well, it was a referral from. And so, everything that really works in marketing is, I think word of mouth is at the bottom of it. And the beautiful thing about doing marketing in this day and age is that it's so much easier to amplify the effect of this thing that works so well. So if you're getting referrals today, well, let's take advantage of that, energize it, and get more people talking about you.
Absolutely. And it's sort of to me, word of mouth is more like, how do you do that in an online world, right? It's like you have relationships with people, but I don't know, like online, it just seems more vast versus intimate. So I don't think people really understand, in this, automated landscape, how do we even make that happen?
Yeah, and I think the key is to keep that intimacy, even though we're putting some scale and efficiency in it. So the beautiful thing about, my analogy is look at LinkedIn as the world's best networking event, right? You get to show up in this place where you only meet exactly the perfect target prospective clients. And you really need to treat it that way, which is you wouldn't walk into a cocktail party and just immediately start pitching people.
Oh, totally.
The goal is to meet them, develop a relationship that turns into sales opportunities over time. But those who come in with the attitude of wanting to grow their network and really help their network are the ones that are most successful. And so I think in B2B, LinkedIn is just this ideal example of how we can take something that works really well in real life, move it into the online world and put a lot of scale into it, because we can get to exactly the right audience, and then we get the opportunity to keep talking to them over and over again.
Yeah.
It's just even if you have focus on LinkedIn, I bet you anything that there is more you should be doing in order to leverage LinkedIn.
Oh God, yeah. And that's you said a term like talking to people, and it's like, you can build relationships with people that are on the other side of the world online. And I've done it and through podcasting and stuff, but it's like having conversations. And I think people kind of, I know we're all going at the speed of light. It's hard to kind of take a breath and, okay, we need to, make time for conversations. But I think that's a really key part.
It is, and it's really, you got to avoid what I consider the number one mistake in marketing, which is talking about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some irony there, because the whole point of marketing is to get the word out, but your audience doesn't care. What they're worried about is the challenges they have in their lives and their business. And if you do a really good job of creating those conversations where you're focused on bringing your expertise and bringing unique insight to the table, then that's going to be vastly more effective. And so if you put 90% of your effort into coming up with really great content that shares valuable perspective and insight, then only 10% of the work is in the actual process of getting it out there. And it's such an underutilized element for so many businesses. I mean, it's one of the things that you promote all the time, and I'm a huge fan of it.
And so when you say conversational marketing, is that kind of the same thing?
It really is. It's just putting word of mouth on steroids. I think of it as social currency. How are we giving?
Oh, okay. Ooh, I like that.
How are we giving our audience the currency, the reason to talk about us?
Yeah.
So this is why having niche markets in B2B is so effective, because you're working with hundreds or maybe thousands of businesses that are alike. And so you can sit down with the CEO or the decision maker and an individual prospect and bring them perspective and insight that they, even though they're running a business in that market, they can't have because they're tied up in running their business. And you have this perspective across hundreds of their peers. And if you leverage that, then every prospect you sit down with should be better off because they met you. Everybody you connect on LinkedIn should be better off because they met you. Everybody who joins your email list because you're sharing really useful information with them is now better off because they're getting your emails.
And that's good. Yeah, that's good advice. And it makes sense. And I like how you touched upon email marketing. Like, to me, that's part of a conversation.
Yeah, and it's the part that really works. I mean, email marketing to me is kind of like the king is dead, long live the king. I mean, there's so many people who want to kill email off, but we follow the data, and email is what really delivers. And so to me, there's three core legs to the stool here. The website's always the centerpiece. LinkedIn is how we grow the audience, but our goal is always to get people onto our email list, because that's how we're going to stay top of mind. It's how we're going to create nurturing campaigns that follow up on every lead that we create. So if we build that foundation and then we focus on the three core things, be better at capturing the leads and referrals that are already coming to us, and be better at following up on every single one of those, and then stay top of mind with that bigger audience that we're growing, none of that's complicated. The hard part is just doing it and executing on it day in and day out.
Totally. And I'm like, how do you make it like natural? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think some people get hung up on like, what do I write to them? What, like, whether it's a direct message or, commenting on a post is one thing, but to take that conversation off the post, like, do you have any tips for us that makes it easier?
Yeah, the first part is creating that content, right? Because all of this is about that 90% of the effort, creating the content. And it almost never works to try to do this internally. If you're going to do it yourself, I mean, staring at that blank screen is just so difficult. The only thing I've ever seen work consistently is to go find an outside resource that already has the expertise. Right. And so our approach is we use a large network of subject matter experts, because we want somebody who's already in your market, already understands your audience, already understands the challenges that they're tackling. And then, you or I, we could sit down with the CEO of a company and in 30 minutes get, more than enough ideas for 6 months worth of editorial. The ideas are there. We just need a system to be able to create really quality in-depth content out of that. So my recommendation is stop trying to do it internally, because it just never works.
Gotcha. Interesting. Now, I do want to have time to touch upon one thing, because I found this hugely interesting. And it says that you're, like, on your site, that you guys create word of mouth websites. I have never heard that before. And so that was really intriguing to me. What is the difference? And plus you were saying that, your website is kind of that foundation, so it's super important.
Yeah, so websites are such an interesting area. I mean, most of the time I think they're built backwards. They're always, it's built with a design first. I think you have to start with what you want to communicate. And even in a business context, 60, 70% of your first-time visitors are coming to you on a smartphone because they just heard about you over lunch from one of their peers. So you've got to do a mobile-first design that's focused on getting the core of who you are and why you exist across. But if you think about it from a word-of-mouth context, then you're really focused on, okay, how are we going to leverage the referrals that we're creating? How are we going to get the most benefit out of that? And if you're in B2B, the second most visited page on your website, it's always the About Us page. Nobody's going to work with your professional services firm, your SaaS software company, if they don't know who's behind the company.
Yeah, that's so true.
And so that's the second thing that should be on your webpage. The first thing is who you are, what do you do? The second thing is who are you?
Yeah.
And if you think about it this way, then you're really going to focus on the customer journey. And so you're going to make it really easy for people to find the thing they want, which is all about the who's behind the company.
Right.
But I bet if you randomly went to 10 About Us pages for small businesses right this second and scrolled down to the bottom of that page, at the end of the very boring bio for the executive team, there won't be anything there. There won't be a natural place to say, okay, here's where I want to take you next in order to tell you the story. And that's the thing that's missing. You want to control that customer journey. So what I find enormously enlightening is to tie all these pieces together. So understand how our email, LinkedIn, and website are working together, understand the customer journey across all of those things, because that's really how we figure out how to make word of mouth. Just the performance and conversion we get out of that is so much higher by having that overall picture.
Love it. And you're right. It's like people do want to know the person behind the company, because we work with people that we feel comfortable with, right, and connect with and like, and you want to build a relationship with someone that, again, you can connect with and feel that you trust.
Yeah, I call it putting a face on the business. It's one of the big advantages you have as a small business relative to your huge competitors, which is there's really you standing behind your product or service. And so my recommendation is don't try to look corporate and be just like the big guys. Take full advantage of what your core difference is.
Now, with word of mouth and referrals, how important is it to showcase your testimonials, or is there a right way or wrong way of doing that?
Well, the wrong way is to not do it. So I think doing it in any level is great. The key is to sort of do it in all mediums. So, video testimonials are really powerful.
Yeah.
Quotes are really powerful. Case studies both of those tie into are really powerful. So you get the depth once you've pulled somebody in. I mean, I don't think there's anything as valuable as testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't do what gets you on the front page of the Wall Street Journal and use a stock photo with the same quote. I mean, they did this for education loan companies recently, and found the same stock photo across 20 different companies for the same testimonial. It's got to be real. It's got to be authentic. We all pick up on that when it's not. But none of this really matters if you're not taking care of your clients. And if you are, then you should take full advantage of that.
I agree. And it's and I liked that you picked up on the word, or you expressed being authentic. You want your testimonials to be, real business owners that had an issue and they got solved. And I think that goes for, the business owner, right? Is like you said, people want to know the person or the face behind the business, and they want to, be in touch with someone that is authentic.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek, and people, they buy into you because of why you do what you do, and so that needs to come across in your message.
Love it. Now, you mentioned LinkedIn. Are you more LinkedIn like heavy in regards to how you work, or just your personal preferences, or do you also use Instagram or Facebook with the same approach?
Well, we do, but particularly in the B2B portion of our business, it's just where we see the results from is on the LinkedIn side. We still post everything to Facebook and Instagram, but it's more to get the links back for SEO purposes than it is to really believe we're going to create, business contacts there.
Yeah.
There's niches where that's true. And of course, it's very different in B2C. But if you have a B2B business, the more effort you put into LinkedIn, the more value you're going to get back out of that. I mean, it's just the algorithm is so much simpler. It's, so many of the issues that are in Facebook don't exist in LinkedIn. You can write a couple of really good content pieces a month and leverage that and reuse it because you don't have a duplicate content issues in LinkedIn, and you can get so our goal is to have 4 to 6 activities per profile per week on LinkedIn. And we can make that happen with 2 content pieces a month, and it keeps you in front of your audience. I mean, it works really well.
Wow. And I think a lot of us, we do underutilize LinkedIn. And I publish a lot of things on the articles and, status updates and stuff like that. But I think in regards to what you're talking about, word of mouth and conversational marketing, it is easy to, let that slip under the radar and kind of not leverage it as best as we can.
It is the easiest way to expand your audience of exactly the right prospects.
Yeah.
This is something you can run for yourself. It only really works if you have the sort of the golden hour of prospecting. Apply that to LinkedIn and say, okay, every day from 8 to 9 a.m., I'm going to dedicate myself to LinkedIn. And it really does work, but it takes a lot of focus. So if you're earlier in the arc of your company, then it's totally worth putting that time in. If you're more established, then you need to get an assistant to do that. You need to hire a company to do it for you, because it's the most obvious way to grow your firm. Absolutely.
Now, the term social selling, I've heard a ton. Is it the same thing, or is that something different?
I don't use that term a ton because I think the definition is a little fuzzy. I think there's a crossover in what we're talking about here. To me, it's building a relationship.
Yeah.
Online with scale. The best way to do that is with thought leadership. Really the best way to do it is to give your best stuff away for free.
Absolutely.
If you're willing to do that, the things we're talking about here work really well. It's the people who hold it in really close that have a tough time getting the value out of this approach.
Absolutely. So if you were to give advice to an entrepreneur, what 3 action steps would you tell them that they should start doing?
Let's avoid the number 1 mistake. Stop talking about yourself. Figure out how to take everything and put it in the context of what your audience cares about. The second most common mistake is I see as a lack of consistency.
Yeah.
Marketing is not the kind of thing where you can say, okay, I'm going to try this for a month or 2 and see if it works. You've got to do the research to understand to buy into a strategy for a long-term commitment. I think if you don't commit for a year, you're really doing a disservice. It would be better for you to take the money, burn it, make a YouTube video, and hope it goes viral. But if you make that long-term commitment and you're serious about putting out really good content and about growing your network. So one of the challenges with getting entrepreneurs to do this is to say, well, LinkedIn is for the people I already know. And to me, that's like going to a networking event and saying, I'm only going to talk to people I already know.
Ooh,
it makes no sense.
No, you're right.
So if you're willing to open your eyes to that and be aggressive about making new connections on LinkedIn, it's the perfect way to get the word out.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. And so how can people find you and how you can help them, grow their exposure on LinkedIn and gain more prospects and staying top of mind with their audience?
Yeah. So what's amazing about this is when we started treating ourselves as a client and doing exactly the things for ourselves that are what we do for our clients, that's when it really started working for us, breaking out of the, cobbler's kids' shoes problem.
Yep.
And so you can come to our website, go to boomtime.com, look me up on LinkedIn and see in action exactly what I'm talking about. I love talking to business owners about their marketing. I'm at CEO@boomtime.com. Please drop me an email or find me on LinkedIn and let's talk about marketing.
Awesome. Perfect. I love your approach. So folks, definitely go to boomtime.com. I've never seen a company that focuses on word of mouth and helping you build your audience in kind of a different, authentic way. I love that. Awesome. So, of course, this week's 15-minute cruise to move the needle in your business has come to an end. So thank you so much, Bill, for joining us and sharing and teaching us about word of mouth marketing.
It's been fun sailing with you. Thanks.
Awesome. So, folks, if you're looking to achieve faster growth through content marketing and sales funnels, look no further than smoothbusinessgrowth.com. So have a profitable and productive week, folks, and may the winds always be at your back.